Welcome to this edition of Keeping It Rich. I am Sakina. So, today I want to tell you guys a personal story. I want to get serious about something because I keep talking about don't pay attention to the interest rate, right? I said don't stress about the interest rate, right? Don't pay attention to the interest rate. That is regarding things that you've already bought, interest rates you already agreed to, right? Because at this point, now your focus really needs to be laser focused on paying that debt off. So you need to just make sure that you pay the minimum payment. And sometimes when we look at the interest rate and we keep like wallowing in how much money we're paying, then we get, frustrated and then decide, hey, I'm just not going to pay it at all. I'm going to push it for 2 months and wait, until I absolutely have to pay it. I'm going to wait for them to start calling and blowing up my number at my job. And I get embarrassed by my coworker saying, yo, man, why you keep pushing that phone to ignore? So don't do that, right? If looking at the interest rate is making you do that, just don't look at the interest rate. Look at the amount that you have to pay and pay that amount. Try and pay as much of it as you can. You don't want to pay more than the minimum because when you pay the minimum, you still have the balance left there. The minimum is pretty much just the interest rate. So the balance is still there. But don't get so frustrated to the point by looking at the interest rate that you can't even make the minimum payment, right? So I'm just kind of trying to cater to your empathy for yourself, right? Make the minimum payment. Give yourself a break. Do not wallow in the interest rate. Do not wallow in the amount that you've signed up for. Oh my God, what was I thinking when I took out this loan? What you were thinking when you took out the loan was, I really need this car. I'm going to need this car payment. And so let me sign this on because I need to get back and forth to work. I need to get back and forth to the grocery store. I need to get my kid back and forth to school. Whatever it was you was thinking about. You were thinking maybe I got a mortgage on this house. So maybe rates were higher when you got your mortgage and now they say, "Oh, rates are lower." And you're like, "Oh man, why did I get this mortgage when this rate was so high?" Well, the reason why is because that's what rates were when you was buying your house. And it's a good thing you bought your house when you did because it will eventually keep appreciating and you will eventually get the payoff at the end. So don't wallow, don't stress about those interest rate payments right now because what the goal is to either have the asset appreciating or have that asset help you in your livelihood day to day to get you back and forth where you need to go. So pay it if it's an installment loan like a mortgage or a car payment, pay it as agreed, throughout the term. And if it's a credit card, those interest rates can be painful. They could be like outrageously painful. Credit card interest rates can be like 20% to 30%, right? 30%. Let me tell you how that breaks down. If you have like $5,000 balance on your credit card and your interest rate is 29%, right? Let's just roughly say 30%. 30% of 5,000 is $1,500. So basically, you're going to pay an extra $1,500 over the year because it's an annual percentage rate. So they're going to look at what that balance is every month. If it's 5,000, they're going to say, okay, if this 5,000 stays for the whole year, that's an extra 1,500. We're going to divide it by the 12 months of the year and put it on you monthly. So you're going to be paying an extra $125 a month or something like that for something like that. Some people, if you go up to like $10,000 and you got 30% interest, that's an extra $3,000 a year. So you're paying like another $250 a month just in the interest payment. So you do not want to have interest payments on your credit card if you can avoid it. But what you don't want to do is stress about it if you do have it, right? You've already signed up for the credit. You already got the card. You already wilded out. You done swipe, 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 right? Or maybe you did something you really was like, I had no other choice, right? My car broke down. It cost $5,000 to get it out the shop. And I had to just do what I had to do. I forgive you. You need to forgive you. You did what you had to do. I commend you that you even had the funds available on your card to even swipe to get yourself out of that situation, right? I commend you that you're even looking at this video to figure out, well, what can I do now? Because maybe it wasn't a car, right? Maybe it was some shoes. Maybe you went and bought a pair of $900 shoes on a credit card. And maybe that $900, 30% on that, became an extra $270. So those shoes now don't cost you $1,200, $1,300 for the year. And maybe you're like, oh my gosh, but I only have $100 a month to keep paying on this card. If that's all you have and that's the minimum payment, then please pay it. Just pay it on time every month. And the reason why is because the more you pay your card on time, then the higher your credit score goes up. And the better credit score you get, then the more likely you are to be approved for a lower interest rate. Then you can possibly transfer that high interest credit card to a lower interest credit card. So you have to pay the minimum amount every month. What you cannot do is stop now. We in the middle of this game. All right. We already swiped. We already bought everything. So what we need to do now is try to figure out how we pay all this stuff off. First things first. What is the amount of the bill? Not the amount of the debt, not the amount of the shoes, not the full amount of the car. What is the amount of the bill? That amount due part in the bill, right? Let's just start there. And I know a lot of people are like, don't just pay the minimum amount. You pay the minimum amount. You're never going to pay it off. Right. But we're not doing that. What we're doing right now is trying to build our credit, trying to get ourselves out of a situation. So the first step is, what is the amount due on the bill? Commit to paying that at bare minimum for the next 6 months. Okay? Because then your credit score is going up, right? It's showing that every month so and so is paying their bill on time, right? Because your credit score is based on 5 things, right? Your payment history, the amount you owe, the age of your credit, and the credit mix is also based on getting new inquiries. So payment history, let's start there. That's where I keep talking about. Make sure you pay it on time. That is the amount you owe when you pay it. Bing, you paid it on time. They said pay it by April 5th. On time means within 30 days of when it's due. Do not go 31 days. Do not even go 30 days and 6 hours. You hear me? If it is due on April 1st, you need to make sure that they get that money by April 30th. You hear me? They got to get that money. I mean, get that money. Like they know it's there. Not, oh, it's kind of confused. I think it was. I kind of hit it at 11:59 p.m. on April 30th. No. Make sure they got the money by April 30th, okay? Because as long as they get the amount that's due within 30 days of the actual due date, you show as someone who has good payment history. We want good payment history. Payment history is worth 30% of your score alone. Just that part. Just the history that this person pays it all the time within 30 days of it being due. The other 30% comes from trying to keep your balances down, right? So the amount that's owed. So if you're paying down your balance for 6 months, right? If you're able to pay an extra $20, $30, and you're getting that balance down, now the balance being down is also building up your credit, okay? So we're not spending the card anymore. We're not doing bottles service no more with the credit card right now. In this 6 months, we're paying it on time and we're letting our balance go down because we try to pay maybe another $10, $20 a month more if we can. If we can, don't start freaking out if we can't, but if we can. So now our amount owed on our balance is going down. That's also worth 30% of your credit score. So bam, 60% of your credit score right there, you're already improving, right? The other pieces are having a good mix of credit. Mix of credit means installment loans as well as revolving loans. Revolving is your credit card. Clearly, it's like a revolving door, right? Oh, it's up $1,000. Oh, I paid 500. Now it's down to five. So now they say, well, now you only got to pay $100 a month. Next month they were like, you got to pay us $300 a month because now you done spent $5,000. So that's revolving. It's always changing. Then the installment loans are the set amount. The mortgage payment is always $1,200 a month, right? And the mortgage payment is always $5,000 a month, right? Whatever the mortgage payment is always that. That's an installment loan. Those are considered good credit to have, right? The installment loans, because it's a set amount and you pay that set amount. It shows that you actually know how to balance money. You actually know how to, pay something that you say you're going to pay, and it's always the same amount all the time. So you want a mix of installment and revolving. If you just have credit cards, they're like, we don't know if you could really be consistent with a set payment yet. So you want to get an installment loan. So I'll tell you a little story about me. This is a true story, happened last year, right? To the Keeping It Rich girl. Had these car accidents last year, two of them, right? So my daughter had one in one of my cars, totaled the car. The car was already paid for. Once you totaled it, the insurance gave us some money, and then I took a few thousand out of an account and bought another car for cash. It was cheap, it was inexpensive. I didn't really want to spend a lot of money, didn't want to do a car. We tried to hold on to that for a little bit. A couple of months later, I got into a car crash, totaled the car. Now, the car I was driving had a car payment on it, had a balance due owed on it, maybe about $20,000 owed on it. I decided to keep it rich trick. You know what? I'm tired of paying this car note. I'm so tired of paying this car note. And I don't want to have that $20,000 balance anymore, right? Because maybe I want to redo a kitchen. Maybe I want to take out a home improvement loan. I don't know. So I just don't want to have that $20,000 debt sitting there because it's an installment loan. So it's sitting there, right? And I'm just paying it every month. So I let the insurance company send the money, let them pay off the car. I decided to take cash out of an account and go buy myself another car for cash, right? Another, I don't know, maybe $10,000, $12,000, right? And say, okay, this is what we're gonna do. First of all, do you know my score went down 19 points after I did that? Because I closed the account. So this is why the importance of having an account for a long time, the longevity of accounts. That's the other thing that factors in, right? How long have you had the account? You don't want to close an account. I closed the account. So now it showed that the $20,000 of credit worthiness that I had was now gone. So my score tanked. I no longer had that installment loan on my report. So my credit tanked. And that's how I lost 19 points on my score. So I'm sharing these things with you so that you can learn from it and understand that credit is a system, right? So there's 5 keys to keeping it rich. Define your rich, invest in your rich. The third one is build your credit, right? Then you got to own stuff and then you have to hire people. But talking about that third one and building your credit, it's a real thing. So if you're doing it, you have to really focus on it. And it's not just, well, just get rid of all credit, get rid of all debt. Well, that's not going to build your credit, right? So listen to what the Keeping It Rich girl did. I actually paid off a car loan and my score went down 19 points. I was like, yo, that was an interesting trick, right? And I mean, I've been studying my credit for a long time. I did a story in Essence 1,000 years ago, must be 15 years ago, on how I made it to an 800 credit score, where I looked at it month to month. You know, I was counting it on the MyFICO, which you can all check out, myfico.com, to get your scores as well. And they'll show you every month how it's going up and how it's going down. So these little things always, make a difference. And you never know for sure what's going to help, what's going to hurt. And clearly, last year, I took a gamble on thinking, hey, let me see if I can reduce this credit, how that's going to go down. And I reduced it and I see how it went down. It went down 19 points on my credit score. And then that car that I bought my daughter, that $10,000 car, was a piece of junk. I was so sick of it. So anyway, we didn't get another car note, but we did spend some more cash and buy her a better car. But then I went and got a car note for myself, and my score has been going up like 3 points every month. So yes, pay your bills on time. That's the key part. Okay, pay it on time. That's worth 30% of your score. The amount of time you have the loans is important. The amounts that you owe, you want to keep your balances down. You really don't want high balances, especially not with credit cards. Okay, 30%, you're paying an extra 30%. You know how you go to the mall and they tell you something is 20% off and we get all excited. Oh my God. Well, go in and they tell you that this is 30% more if you put it on your credit card. You'd probably be like, what in the world? So when you're thinking about credit, there are types of credit. Good credit, installment loans. Bad credit, revolving loans, for sure, with 30% interest rates on them. You don't really want to do that. But if you have it, don't stress about it, baby. Don't stress about it. Just pay the minimum amount due. Just keep doing that. You'll see your score rise. And then once your score gets decent enough, you'll be able to refinance into a lower interest rate. All right. In the meantime, keep keeping it rich.